Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We had a little bit of a delay. There was a meeting before us, but now that we're settled, we'll get started. Determination of a quorum, Mr. Longhorn?
We have 7 members present. We do have a quorum.
Awesome. And next, we'll look at the approval of the minutes from the January 25th meeting. Does anyone have any questions regarding the minutes? We'll entertain.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. I don't have any reports at this time. Do any other of the commissioners have any comments?
Yeah, I just
Commissioner
wanted.
Durham? Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to briefly go on record to thank City Council for passing the missing middle plan, because it's, I believe, really not just going to help with our housing crisis, but help with transportation, obviously, because as we've discussed plenty of times before, you know, land use is directly what can make or break transit. So the fact that we can get a little more density along some of our already most popular lines, I think, is sorely needed. So I just want to thank City Council for doing that for us.
Thank you for that comment. Now we will have staff. City of Knoxville Director Transit.
Yes, good afternoon. I just want to provide a little bit of commentary on ridership for the month of January. Obviously, our numbers are down about 27%. Most of that is due to the fact that we did not operate service for about 1 week due to the major storm that hit our area. So that's the only comment I wanted to make. Just wanted to let the board make the board aware of that.
And Mr. Burton.
Thank you. Once again, I'm Doug Burton with the Transportation Planning Organization. I'd mentioned to you from time to time, one of the key work products that our organization has to do is called a long-range transportation plan, and we brand it as the Mobility Plan 2050. We had a series of public involvement opportunities. We're just kicking that off. We had a public meeting over at Kta Knoxville Station. We had about 30 people there. That's not too bad for the beginning of a study. Right now, we're getting information from people about what they would like to see. We don't have a lot to react to. But we also had some online opportunities, and I know a few of the commissioners participated in that, and I really appreciate it. I will, because we're on TV, just point out that we are keeping our survey open, and you can go to our website, knoxmobility.org/feedback, and take the survey. And for anyone here, I have some cards with the QR thing that you can go to and do the website. So that stays open. But our next, just to give you an update, our next round will probably be mid to late summer, and that's when we're going to actually start having a little bit more to react to, some actual policy recommendations and projects. So I'll keep you updated about that opportunity when it comes. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any new business?
No new business.
No new business. Let's dive into the proposed service changes for 2024, April.
Yes, earlier today we sent out the board a Title VI analysis, and I just want to make the board aware of, because I think this is really important, on page 2 at the very bottom there. None of these service changes, we're essentially increasing service. Nothing that we're proposing is going to negatively impact our community. And then also that last sentence, we determine no negative impacts with these proposed service changes. Typically with the Title VI analysis, we're looking at what's going to negatively impact the community, our customers, in terms of decreasing service. With this service changes that we're making, they're all increases. It's going to have a positive effect. I will now turn it over to Blenda to get more analysis of the changes we're doing. Blenda can take it over.
Do I push that button? Is this on? Yes. Okay. New system. I can't get used to it. Okay. Can you hear me? Hello. Use my outside voice. Okay. So just for our review, what we went over last meeting is, I can give you sort of a summary of what we're proposing, which is essentially returning a lot of our routes to the pre-COVID timeframes that we were operating in prior to the pandemic and our workforce shortages. As Isaac has mentioned, we have done a lot to increase our workforce, and we are ready to add some of that service back and get our new operators acclimated in anticipation of the Kta Reimagined project. So what we have proposed in this packet was all Sunday service returns to pre-COVID spans. So right now we end at 5:15. We would go back to an 8:15 lineup. Extend evening service on weekdays and Saturdays to the final 11:15 trip. Those had been shortened as well on Sutherland, Route 17 Sutherland, 20 Central, Route 23 Millertown, 32 Dandridge, 33 MLK, and Route 42 Fort Sanders UT Medical Centers. The other thing that we are pleased to propose bringing back is returning 30-minute service on weekdays to 42. We heard a lot from the community about that, and so we're happy that we would be able to do that under this proposal. Extending Route 34 into the evenings, it previously had a 10:15 trip, so it's returning to that on weekdays and Saturdays. We had shrunk the service on Beaumont, so expanding that back both in the morning and in the afternoons. And then several adjustments to South Knoxville. These are adjustments that we kind of are trying to get a leg up on Kta Reimagined with these. Some of these are routing changes to help us be more efficient. This is a great way for us to try this and see if it's going to improve our on-time performance. And so really just some routing changes, getting out of town and into downtown more efficiently, and at the end of the line, taking all right turns. So that was our little test to try to see if we can improve that on-time performance with those changes. And then one minor time point adjustment back 1 minute to allow the bus to kind of keep breezing through those time points on the outbound. We also proposed some minor things, a 1-block diversion removal on Route 45 Vestal. That 1-block area has quarter-mile service to 2 different routes. And so, again, just kind of keeping those routes streamlined as much as we can. And then also with 40 and 45, creating that easier flow back into town using Gay Street Bridge instead of Henley. We tend to get stuck in the afternoon on Henley. So, and then you may recall that we did a demonstration route on Route 34, Burlington. We're asking that to be the official routing. And again, that was an attempt to improve our on-time performance. The route had sort of gradually been chipped away and gone further and further as First Cricket Austin developed. We used to just go in and go out, and that street disappeared, so we had to go further, and then we had to go further, and then it was just too far to maintain on-time performance. So we're asking to stay straight on Summit Hill for that. And we've been doing that as a demonstration, and it has proved effective from that perspective. And then the other part of that is there is more service that covers that area. The Route 12 goes right in the exact same street area. So coverage is not lost. It's just not covered on Route 34. We would go straight. So that is a summary. This packet that you received was also placed on the website. We did social media news releases about this, and really have heard very little. So no news is always good news generally when we are proposing changes. And with service increases, that's always nice to be able to propose that. Isaac mentioned the Title VI analysis. We did determine which of these proposed changes merit an analysis, and that is all sort of summarized in the Title VI analysis. If anybody didn't get a chance to look at that, I have a few extra copies here if anybody wants to see it. But it's a big document, but the executive summary pretty much is the first 2 pages and just sort of explains that we looked not only on negative impacts for low-income and minority populations, which when you're increasing service isn't necessarily the issue. So when we're increasing service, we look at potential negative impacts, but we also look at the accrual of benefits. So are we increasing service equally across the system? Are there disproportionate impacts that maybe we're increasing service where there aren't a lot of minority or low-income populations. So we always want to check and make sure that whatever we're doing is equal across the board. And so we have shown with our analysis that the increase in benefits is equal to the overall service system breakdown of low income and minority. So we were pleased with that as well. So that's kind of summarized again on that second page. Any questions about the proposed increases?
Yes. Just two questions for my own understanding. So on that report, this is obvious and I'm just dumb. Whenever it says that there's a certain percentage increase, I'm assuming that means estimated ridership. What is that increase of?
Right, very good question. Okay, so the way we look at Title VI is whenever a route changes, either the routing itself or the span of service or the frequency of service, we look at how much did that increase by. So if we expand a route and it is 25% more revenue mileage than what we're doing, that merits us to take a closer look. If we have increased the hours of service more than 25% or 25% or more of what it's doing currently, that also would merit this analysis. So when you say, is there a major service change? Yes, there's a 25% increase in service levels on Sunday. So it's also particular to the day of the week too. So that's why you see these. And when you look at, for example, I think Route 42, 105% increase on weekdays because we doubled the service, right? Every 30 minutes versus, so that's why you see that big number there. Same thing on Saturdays. So that's what that means. Does that answer your question?
100%, because I was 100% incorrect on what it meant, so that's helpful. And then one other question. I'm just curious, when looking at which routes impact like minority populations, that percentage, I'm assuming, is that from like census blocks? How often is that updated? Well, you know what I mean? Because I want to make sure the right people are represented on the right routes.
Definitely. So we get those numbers from the actual onboard survey that we do as part of our Title VI plan, and that is conducted every 3 to 5 years. And so we feel good about that because when you look at a census tract, it can be, we could cover, we would be driving here and and so it's great for us to understand exactly who's using the service and what percentage are minority and low income that are actually using the service in that area. So that's what we use.
Can you provide additional information regarding the 10 areas where it does meet the plus 10% threshold of alternative analyses and what mechanism was used to determine that this is essentially a net positive change overall?
Right. So yes, there are a few situations. So Western Avenue, we have a minority population of 58.6, whereas the overall system is 45%. And so obviously that's something that we look at. Well, again, because we're increasing that service, that is a net benefit. So we don't worry too much. If we were decreasing service, we would be concerned. And the same, again, falls for Western with the low-income population as well. 74% of our Route 12 passengers are considered low-income, whereas our system-wide is 62. So again, that same sort of situation, and that sort of falls with the other ones as well. We're lucky that these are service increases. So that's good. And again, so then what we do is we take all of those sort of numbers of all of the routes that we've analyzed and we put them all together, minority, non-minority, low income, non-low income, add them all up at the bottom and then figure out, based on overall percentage, have we equaled, are we doing our due diligence as far as accrual of benefits, So, and that worked out. So yeah, does that answer your question? Awesome.
Real quick, and it's like Dustin, and probably a stupid question, but on the 7 that you said required additional analysis, I'm assuming the parentheses to each of those was the outcome of those analyses? To the right of each of them, like you had the 7 routes it required or looked like they needed more analysis, and then you have in the parentheses off to the very right. Was that the outcome of those analyses?
Let's see what we got here. Are you talking about in the chart?
The 7 that required, that you thought deserved, that looked after, I think Route 20, there was a couple of routes in, there was only 7 out of all that required additional analysis. And to the right of it, that parentheses is what the outcome of the analysis was?
Correct, that's the
Okay.
analysis
That's
that
what
she
I thought
actually
it
did.
was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all being interested in Title VI. Thank you.
This is I guess semi-related question, but is there a way to know with the new routes on Kta Reimagined to see those same like percentages of like service increase from current routes? Like, is there a way to track that? Because I just personally would be very interested to see how our new routes, like what level of service increase they would provide, because I feel that would be another good way to be able to sell the new system.
Right. Yeah, we will definitely be providing a similar sort of analysis, a Title VI analysis for the new network. It's going to be different because it's not apples to apples. It's not this route changed this much. It's, oh, you have a whole new route and it's going a whole new place. And so what we have to do with what you'll see with our Title VI analysis with Kta Reimagined is more of an overall, here's the old network, here's how it ran, here's the new network, and here's how it's running. And the beauty of that new analysis that we're hoping to bring you is it also includes a little more detail, like looking at things like frequency and the benefits of that frequency. So it's really more how many trips does somebody get versus what's your overall ridership coverage and span of service. So it's going to be, I hope, if we can pull this off, it'll be a lot more detailed and you'll get some good information from that.
Linda, quick clarification. I should know the answer to this. I just can't remember. Do we, the Title VI regulations, are we required to take a standalone vote approving that? Or it appears we're just vote, the resolution we have is a one vote, which encompasses approval of the Title VI analysis?
Yes, we included reference to the Title VI analysis in the resolution, so that should cover us. Thank you.
I'd like to just comment that it is very exciting to see the service being restored. I remember when we had to vote to cut most of the service. It was a very sad day, and this is a very happy day to see a lot of the service coming back. So I applaud the hard work that's gone in to making this happen. I do just have one quick question. Has all of the service been restored? Are there any, weeknights, weekend service that has not yet come back? What's left?
So what we tried to do was kind of strike a balance with what we were running pre-COVID versus sort of the reality of what the new network's going to be just a few months later. So, this will be, if approved, this will run from April through August. And so what we didn't necessarily want to do was bring back some things that were not included in the new network. So pre-COVID, we had 30-minute service on Route 40 and 45, and that is not a part of the new network initially, and so we didn't bring that back. The 10 and the 19 routes were not part of the new network, so we didn't bring that back. And then what we also didn't bring back was the peak service frequency on 11 and 31 and 22. We used to have like 6 to 9 and then 4 to 6 peak service. It's just that when we bring it back, it's going to be all day long. And so it's going to be kind of a different beast. And so we felt like that was something else we weren't sure that we were ready to do workforce-wise, and also just from a confusion level, because the Broadway, of course, that frequency is going to wait on ABC. So those are the things that didn't come back with this. Everything else is back.
Any other comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? None opposed. Do we have anyone sign up for public comments? No, come on. Can she come down?
I'll come talk to you afterwards. We're actually running, we're running on Washington Pike under Kta Reimagined. We're running Washington Pike currently as well. So I'll come talk to you.
It was added back in.
No, it's actually been added back in. Washington Pike has, yeah. Yep, then not a problem. I'll come after this. I'll talk to you and give you some information about that. Yep. Yep.
Any other comments? Public comments? Okay, we'll see everyone at the next meeting on March the 28th.